Hello, welcome back. It's another one of my best of 2022 lists. And make sure to check out my final Oscar predictions because they exist now. So today, I'm uploading it today, the same day I'm doing my best actress predictions. Anyway, not predictions, but you get what I'm saying. I'm a blind film critic, which actually I think factored into some of these rankings, so I think that's valid. This was a tough category for me. My top 10 best actress performances. There were performances that I left off this year that I hate, and it's making me not want to do top 10 lists and just do just like a generic next year of just these are the best performances. Um, I I have seen all of the best actress nominees this year, and I guess I'll spoil it by saying that four of the five of them are nominated here. The only one that's not is Michelle Williams, and that's because I already picked her for supporting actress. She was my winner for best supporting actress this year, so I did not put her in the leading category. I left off some performances. The thing is that I kept somebody at number 10 that I don't know if it's necessarily, but I really wanted to recognize the performance because sometimes we don't recognize genre performances enough and we don't really talk about them. We just kind of let them die. And they end up getting defeated by all of these wondrous performances from supporting films. And so I definitely, as I saw more films, I lost some people, and some people fell off the list, and I thought they did a really good job. So I'm going to make some quick shout outs real quick to Anna Diop from Nanny. I'm sorry, you're not on my top 10. Great performance. Viola Davis from The Woman King, another terrific performance. But then again, Viola Davis is terrific all the time and everything, if we're being really honest. It just fell off because I guess she has such a high standard for me that it could, because it wasn't like my favorite Viola Davis performance. I don't know. Florence Pugh was great in Don't Worry Darling. I stand by that. Whether you like the movie or not, that's a different thing, but you can't hate Florence Pugh in that movie. I thought she was great. Those are just that's a smidge of some of the performances that I felt really bad. Actually, Allison Janney for Lou. I'll throw one more in there. I was just great in Lou. I thought it was a performance I never thought I would see Allison Janney play, and I thought she did it really good. Really, that was terrible. Really well. So, who's the number 10 that I just couldn't drop off? You know, this film was a surprise, and there's a lot of different reasons why this film was great, and I also felt really bad because its director was so close to making my top 10 list. Um, and I should point out that real quick before I get into this, last year, in case you're wondering, like, where's my mindset? Where's his head at? My winner in this category last year was Emilia Jones for Coda. I just felt so bad. I think even more so when she wasn't nominated, because it's like she is the film. I mean, she anchors that film. She's the heart and soul of that film. And yes, Troy Kotsur, maybe because I'm blind, I can't fully appreciate his performance. So I leaned a little bit more in towards Emilia Jones because she had to be the whole film for me. But I picked Emilia Jones. So, and I'm telling you, this year my winner is not nominated. So, and I'm doing the same thing. Basically, I'm doing this. We should probably watch more films and nominate more people and have maybe more than 5 nominations, because we are shutting some people out of categories for unnecessary reasons. My number 10 is Amber Midthunder from Prey. I really enjoyed the film. It was a pleasant surprise. It was something I didn't think I was going to enjoy, and then it ended up being like a breath of fresh air. And she was a breath of fresh air, and she really just kind of controlled the film and dominated it. And she was everything. She was a great action lead. She was vulnerable. She had to watch those around her die. She fought for survival, and she was strong. It's just a great performance. I don't think I've seen like this kind of performance since maybe Charlize Theron from Mad Max Fury Road, where I just feel like uh, we have to recognize a strong female lead like that, just for being so strong and being able to carry so much on their shoulders. It gave me that kind of vibe. So that's why, even though I would argue that it doesn't, I can see that it doesn't have quite the same, it's, I mean, putting her up against, like Andrew Riseborough and Cate Blanchett for their really heavy dramas seems kind of silly. I couldn't. Every time it got down to her, she was sitting at number 10, and every time it got down to me needing to put another performance on and move her off, I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So she's on my list. My number 9 performance is Letitia Wright for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. I saw this film, and like I said, I was upset. I was upset at the attention that just Angela Bassett was getting, because it kind of made me feel like that people didn't see the other women in the film and the work that they were doing, because they were all great. Letitia Wright has some amazing scenes where she plays the sister grieving for her brother. That opening, man, the film hits you right away. When she's like running and she's scrambling and she's trying, and this is a girl who, she can build anything, right? She can hack her way and do all this great stuff with a computer, but she couldn't save her brother. She couldn't do it. And as the film progressed, the weight of that, you can feel it. You can feel her carrying that weight for the whole film. It really was a tremendous experience watching her performance, and I loved it. And just like I loved the 2 when I picked them for supporting actress. So great performances in that film. This is a really tight category for me. I'm sad she's at number 9. Number 8 on the list is Anya Taylor-Joy for The Menu. I loved this performance. I mean, she's kind of everything. Her rapport with Ralph Fiennes in the movie, but also her rapport with Nicholas Hoult. When you realize that she's kind of got like a douchey date for the evening, is everything. But she has to outsmart and outwit. It's like a real world Survivor. So. And she does that. I think Anya Taylor-Joy is very much destined for an Oscar nomination at some point very soon. I think the girl from The Queen's Gambit, and somebody who has delivered such great performances. She was also great this year in The Northman. I think we're going to hear her name at the Oscars very soon. So she's my number 8. Who's my number 7? Well, it's one of the actual Academy Award nominees. And that's Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I do actually think she's going to win this award. So, the fact that she's number 7 on my list, I don't think is a slight to her. I said this is a really tough category. When I rewatched the film, this film is largely based around her ability and her performance to have this performance of being a mother that is really just concerned about her daughter at the core of it. Like when everything is happening all around her all at once, what she's really just concerned about is her daughter at the end of the day. And they keep asking her, and even though it's like a variance, even though it's the fighting, and everybody keeps telling her to do something, that's why when Kay comes in and with that great speech about being kind, it rings so true, because when you strip all of this shit away from this film, there actually is a really nice story here about family and relationships, and it's just really noisy around that. And Michelle Yeoh gets that right really well, but she gets to do all the other cool stuff too, and all the fighting and all the silliness and all the madness, and I'm glad that she's getting a lot of recognition. She's just not my favorite performance of the year. So I've seen this film twice, so it even solidified that her rankings a little bit even more for me. So number 6 on my list I would imagine it might be a little bit higher had the film had audio description, but this is where it is. So it's Andrea Riseborough from To Leslie. I'm glad that her nomination made me watch the film because I wouldn't have watched it otherwise, because it didn't have audio description. So I didn't feel like that I had the need to watch it. You know, I wasn't like, oh my God, I have to watch this film. This film I haven't heard of. But I ended up watching it, and I ended up putting Mark Maron in my top 10 for supporting actor, and Andrea Riseborough is here for her performance here. I think we need to see more films like this. I think the Oscars should be more concerned with recognizing the best work. I think the work should be good. I know they want to recognize more and more blockbusters because that's what brings in the audience for the telecast. But when we see character actors like Andrea Riseborough giving great performances, it's really nice to kind of see their name recognized. I like seeing first-time nominees. I feel so good for them that they finally get to say that they're an Academy Award nominee. So I'm really happy for her. Number 5 on my list, and this may seem low, this is going to outrage people that there are 4 performances above this, is Cate Blanchett for Tar. Cate is great in everything all the time. The reason why I have her a little bit low has a little bit to do with the fact that I loved her performance, but I also I have real world conversations with people, and it's interesting. It's like I don't know anybody in real life who liked Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like in my immediate circle of people that I interact with on a daily basis, everybody, like, nobody loved it. Some people were like, it was okay. And then a lot of people were like, I didn't get it, or I hated it. With Tar, it was kind of the same thing. I liked it, and then I went to other people and I was like, oh, you should watch Tar. And then a lot of people watched it and like, I don't know. But the thing is, I work in music. I work in music theater. So I know a lot of people who are conductors, and when I asked them what they thought of Tar, and they thought of her performance, angry, very not kind, very. They thought it was ridiculous. They hated the film. They hated what her interpretation of a conductor was. When actually doing the conducting, I guess her movements and stuff, they didn't look like anybody was actually conducting. It was very overly dramatic. It was very just for the cinema. It was like Cate Blanchett did all of the work except that. She did all the work except actually learning how to conduct the one thing that her character is supposed to be so good at, that she's done all of these things. Like, it's ridiculous that she's an EGOT winner for being a conductor. I actually talked to a conductor who explained how ridiculous her whole trajectory is, like, from the beginning of the thing, if this really were to be a conductor. It gave me a lot of pause in her performance, because if that's that's a huge chunk of her performance. And while she gets all the rest of the stuff right, and the relationships and the dynamics and everything, it's, if you don't train, if you don't do the part, if you don't do the work. Ryan Gosling took piano lessons for a year so that he could play in La La Land. If you don't do the work and you just think you can pull it off because you're a great actor, I don't know. So I thought it was a great performance, but I think probably after I heard that, she moved down a little bit. She was never at number 1 for me. She was just a little bit higher. She just, I don't know, shifted like a spot or 2 down the list after I had some conversations. I always like to be honest about my biases and why I do things and why I choose things. So there's that. Number 4 is another thing I have to be really honest about a bias, which I was in my review, and that's Danielle Deadwyler for Till. I think the problem that I had with Till was just the fact that I had seen Women of the Movement, and that was really fresh in my mind, and then I felt like I was watching just a film version of that. And sometimes when you watch the same story told the second time around, it feels so close to home. I do acknowledge that I absolutely believe Danielle Deadwyler did a fantastic job in this film, and I actually think she did a better job than Adrienne Warren, who I actually thought did a really good job the first time around. I had no problem with her performance, and then I thought Danielle Deadwyler took it to another level. But the thing is, I've seen this performance twice within a short window of time, and it makes me really hard to jump up and down and be like, oh my god, this has to be my best performance of the year. But I absolutely think she was denied an Oscar nomination that she absolutely deserved, and I stand by that 100%. I think she should have been one of the five. That scene that she has with her son's dead body is that's I don't know how it didn't happen. I still, to this day, I'm just like, the only reason she didn't get nominated is because she's black. That's all I can think of. It's either it's because she's black or she came from a film that was perceived as being a black film and people just didn't vote for her. And there's nothing about her performance that signals to me as that was not one of the top 5 performances of the year. I would have easily traded her performance out for Andrea Riseborough. As much as I love seeing her in there, I would trade that out. So, number 3 on my list is Emma Thompson for Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, whatever. Emma's another one. She's like Cate Blanchett. She's fantastic all the time and everything. She was also great in Matilda. She just missed out on my top 10 for that, for supporting actress. But I've seen this film twice, and I love her so much in this film. I just want to give her a big hug in this film. It's so good. She's so good in it. I think kind of my 3 and 5 flipped, basically, is what happened. I think Emma was at 5 for a little while, and Cate was at 3, and then I just flipped them, and I left Danielle at 4, and that's kind of what happened after I rewatched Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, and also with the conversations I've been having about Tar. This is kind of what happened. So she's up to 3 now. Love the film. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's on Hulu. So who's my runner-up? It's probably divisive, but it's for many of the same reasons why I think people voted for Leonardo DiCaprio for The Revenant, even though I would argue it's not his best performance of his career. Why I think a lot of people voted for Ana de Armas from Blonde. And she was absolutely thrown through the ringer in this film. It's sad what Anna felt like she needed to do to get an Oscar nomination, but it's sad what Leo felt like he needed to do to get an Oscar nomination, to win an Oscar. It's so over the top. She goes through so much. She allows herself to be. She's raped like multiple times. She deals with like an abortion. She talks to like her dead daughter. I mean, there's so many things. She's beaten by her husband. It's such a traumatic performance to watch. It's really hard not to sit here and be like, good job. Like it's almost like it's really uncomfortable to watch as a film. It's a bizarre film. I don't really love it, Andrew Dominik's film, but I didn't really have an appreciation for Ana de Armas until Blonde. And she's so miscast as Marilyn Monroe, which is something we don't talk about when we talk about this performance. It's so bizarre to have a Marilyn Monroe with a Latina accent. You know, she can't shake her accent. It's not gone. So it's there. She's there. But she absolutely tries and she goes for it. And I think she gave everything she had in this role. And that's why I put her as my runner-up, because I think this is Ana de Armas really just bleeding for her craft. This is Ana really trying to show us, I'm here, I'm a serious actress, please take me seriously. And I take her seriously now, and I didn't before. I didn't, like, some people were like, oh, she's great in Knives Out. I was like, she's okay in Knives Out. Oh, she's great in James Bond. I was like, she's okay in No Time to Die. I don't know. But this, I have a totally different worldview. And I can't say that really about any other performance this year. There was nobody who went from 0 to 100 quicker than Ana de Armas did for me with Blonde. So she's my runner-up. So who's my number 1? As I mentioned with Andrea Riseborough, um, I love it when we have an opportunity to reward somebody who's been in the business for a long time, and who's actually given a role and a performance for the first time in their career that actually can kind of take them to the next level when that performance shows up. And I think we missed one this year. I think we missed an opportunity. It's a beautiful film, and I love this film very much, and I love her performance in it. It's a simple film. It's not a showy performance, and I think that's why it was left off, because when you look at Andrea Riseborough's performance, where she's drunk and falling all over herself and to Leslie, and you look at this performance, they're very different, and they're both from tiny films that nobody watched. But my pick for Best Actress of the Year is Dale Dickey for A Love Song. And I'm not crazy. She has been nominated for some other things. Some other awards bodies did independent, usually things that are aimed at independent film, and won't nominate blockbusters, recognized her. So Dana's been in the business forever. Sometimes she just plays roles where she just sits there and she becomes that face that you recognize in the background. And she often isn't given the opportunity. I don't think I've ever seen her given this meaty of a role before. The last time she had anything where she actually had any sort of awards consideration was for supporting actress for Winter's Bone. She's here. She plays a woman that's sort of living by herself off in the middle of nowhere, and she ends up having the opportunity to meet somebody from her high school years and possibly rekindle a relationship. And it's interesting to see a film that takes sort of that women of a certain age, I guess you could say, and gives them the butterflies again, right? The of not having seen somebody in so long that all of a sudden you just it's like you want to see where it goes. And A Love Song is just such a simple film, and it's a beautiful performance. It's very understated, and Dale Dickey is one of the best actresses we have working. And I'm very disappointed that nobody rallied for her. I'm very disappointed that all of Hollywood rallied for Andrea Riseborough. But Dale Dickey has been in more films than Andrea Riseborough. She's been acting longer than Andrea Riseborough. She should have a little black book full of names of actresses who are willing to stand up and say, "Hey guys, have you seen A Love Song?" And nobody did. And that's the problem with Hollywood. The problem with Hollywood isn't the fact that To Leslie got a nomination. The problem with Hollywood is that more films like To Leslie don't get recognized. So we go for the big and the loud and the noisy and the blockbusters. Anyway, that's my pick. Yeah, blew your mind. It's wasn't even nominated. And I kind of did that intentionally to prove a point. But hopefully more people will watch A Love Song. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Next up will be Best Actor. Will it be somebody who's actually nominated this year? Because so far, I have gone a different way every single race. So last year was Emilia Jones for actress. This year it's Dale Dickey. Who will it be next year? I have no idea. Anyway, thanks for subscribing. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you on the other side.